GLP-1 drug like Ozempic um, is basically got its idea from nature, right? It got its idea from how our body functions, but it's not a replica, a synthetic replica of it, like some of these other things that um, you can actually buy in supplements. That the reason why they're not considered drugs is because they are molecularly the same as the natural thing. And so they can be sold in health food stores, like something like creatine, for example. So I'm just going to go through some of these like concepts involved in under the umbrella of peptides so that you understand the bigger picture here. Um, because if you if you're told that GLP-1 is just a peptide, which is like molecules of proteins, like if you take a long protein chain and cut it into smaller pieces, you get peptides. And all of our, like, there's a lot of different proteins derived from food that are peptides, right? Um, so we have long chain amino acids and short chain amino acids, which are food peptides. Then we have endogenous peptides, so smaller protein chains inside of our body, like the GLP-1 that I just mentioned. Also, insulin is a peptide. Oxytocin, our love hormone, is also a peptide produced endogenously, produced inside of our body. So we can get natural peptides from food and we can produce natural peptides inside of our body. Then we can have processed forms of food peptides, right? So we can take collagen out of an animal and then we can concentrate it and be sold it as a supplement like marine collagen, right? But it's still from a whole food source. Then we have something like creatine, which is also a peptide supplement, and it's synthesized in a lab from different compounds, right? So now we get into like what's your definition of natural, right? So creatine is something you can naturally get from animals, right? Eating meat, but if you want, you can go to the health food store and buy it as a white powder. And when it's made that way, it's being made from raw materials that are things that we don't even know what they are, right? So, for example, creatine is made from sarcosine and cyanamide. And then they take that to create a molecule that's bioidentical to natural creatine that's found in the body and built by the body. So, found in food and built by the body. So that some people believe that if you can't get it in nature, then it's not natural. Some people believe that if you can take things from nature and then mix them together in a lab to create something else, which is something being synthesized, that's natural. So, I mean, I'm not going to really get into that um, in this presentation, but you have to know this to understand whether GLP-1 drugs are actually natural or not. By the way, a lot of your vitamin supplements that are also made just like creatine, they're made from other raw materials. A lot of those are materials that are taken from petroleum and purified so that the toxic part of the petroleum is eliminated. And then you're left with these raw materials that they use to make drugs and supplements. There we go. Okay. So semaglutide drugs like Ozempic are not classified as a supplement the way something like creatine is or vitamin supplements, um, because they are not molecularly the same. So if you take the molecule and you put them side by side, the natural GLP-1 in our body and the one that is a drug, they're not the same molecule. But more importantly, they also don't function the same in the body. So semaglutide drugs are not just classified as drugs because they are injectable. That's not the truth. It's also because they are molecularly altered and structurally modified to function differently than natural GLP-1. So, natural GLP-1 is made by your body for short lasting effects to help you feel satiated, whereas the semaglutides like Ozempic are synthetic and lab modified for long lasting effects. So, you don't feel hungry for a long time. Okay? So, to call semaglutide drugs natural is completely misleading because they're not molecularly bioidentical to the body's natural GLP-1. They function differently and they have serious side effects.